Well, friends, Nagendra Rana here. So, the topic of the day is urban flood risk in India. Urban flood risk in India. So, India, a peninsular country surrounded by the Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean, and the Bay of Bengal on three sides, faces a big flood risk due to an erratic monsoon season. Huge coastline that is exposed to cyclones and innumerable rivers. So, out of a total geographical area of 329 million hectares, 40 million hectares is prone to floods. Almost every year, multiple floods of varying magnitude hit some part of the country, causing significant damages to property and lives. So on an average, every year 7.5 million hectares of land is affected, 1,600 lives are lost, and the damages of rupees 18 billion are caused to crops, houses, and public utilities. So in last 2 decades, there has been a significant surge in urban floods across cities in India. Ahmedabad 2001, Delhi 2002-3, Chennai 2004-10-15, Mumbai 2005, Bangalore 2005, Surat 2006, Kolkata 2007, Jamshedpur 2008, Srinagar 2014. So the urban floods cause considerable damage to the property and life, which in turn triggers large insurance claims. So the Mumbai 2005 and the Surat 2006 events are a case in point, with estimated claims of about 5,000 crore and 3,500 crore respectively. The most recent Chennai floods in 2015 is also expected to generate claims between 3,500 to 5,000 crores. So urban floods are a result of combination of one or more of the following reasons, like meteorological factors, rainfall, cyclonic storms, climate change affects magnitude and frequency of rainfall, resulting into flood. So hydrological factors, soil moisture conditions, groundwater level before storm, surface infiltration capacity, slope and surface roughness, high tide. Human factors like change in land use, obstruction in flood plan, lack of flood control measures, improper and poor maintenance of drainage. So these are some of the factors. Now say, for example, Chennai event. To understand the flood risk prevailing in major urban agglomerations in the country, RMS used its India flood risk model to estimate the flood extent and flood depth losses for the Chennai event on real-time basis. The same was shared with the Indian insurance industry through event advisories. Using the final extents, RMS estimated a loss of about 3,500 crores from the event. So the event loss map shows maximum losses in MGR Nagar, Tyagarajan Nagar, Chennai Central and Paris Corner. Tide Park, Taramani, Triplicane, Roypatia, Gindi, KK Nagar, Amma Nagar and Tondiarpet are expected to have suffered losses ranging between 100 to 150 crore each. So while Tidal Park and Taramant were home to major IT parks in the state with well-developed residential exposure, Tondiarpet and Triplicane and Roypatia have commercial and residential exposure, and K Nagar and Gindi have all types of exposures. So the post-disaster survey says after the event, RMSI conducted a post-disaster survey by a team of experts comprising civil engineering and flood modelers. So the objective of the survey was to capture flood depth at various places using the high water marks left on the buildings and get a better understanding of the business interruption to calibrate and validate the flood loss model. So over 100 post-disaster surveys samples covering 30 locations in and around Chennai were collected. For the modulated versus observed flood depths and maps shows a comparison between the observed flood depth as recorded at various locations on the ground and the modeled flood depths at Perambakkam, Tambaram, Santham, IT Park, East Coast Road and at other locations. There is an exact match between the modeled and observed flood depths. So at all other locations, the variations between the modeled and observed flood depths was within 10%. So reasons on flooding in Chennai. Based on the survey findings, Chennai flooding could be attributed to the following reasons. Heavy rainfall associated with depressions of cyclonic storms, two major rivers with reduced water carrying capacity, failure of drainage system, increased impervious surface, water body is reduced from 150 in 1923 to 27 by 215. Encroachment along major waterways, River Kuam, River Adyar and Buckingham Canal. So in addition to Chennai, RSMI used its India flood risk model to estimate 100-year return period flood losses for major cities in India. The figure shows the loss estimates for top 10 cities in India. Now, minimizing the future losses. It is possible to mitigate the impact of such catastrophes by adopting NatCat modeling and adopting better risk management practices. That includes exposure modeling for optimal retention, optimal target portfolio design, setting accumulation limits, monitoring of limits, stress testing of net retention scenarios, PML scenarios, combined loss scenarios from different perils, development of NatCat loss caused by peril, occupancy and type of structure, early intelligence on NatCat losses from event for better claims handling, detailed risk location and attribute information for better risk estimation, developing rating zones and designing products basis the estimation. So the India-like country, which is a peninsular country surrounded by the Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal on three sides, faces a big flood risk due to an erratic monsoon season, huge coastline that is exposed to cyclones and innumerable rivers. So out of a total geographical area of 329 million hectares, 40 million hectares is prone to floods almost every year. So multiple floods of varying magnitude hit some part of the country, causing significant damage to property and lives. This can be prevented. Thank you. Thank you.